Satnam, folks. It's nice to see you again. We're going to do a little Reiki today, so a little bit different than what you might be used to on our channel. Living Light Guidance, we do Reiki, we do yoga, we do astrology, we do angel readings, all those beautiful uplifting things. And so part of it is Reiki. And if you don't know what Reiki is, it's an energy healing modality, and there's some articles on the website already that kind of discuss it, so I won't go too far into it. But those of you who have gone through and done the Reiki training with me or done it elsewhere, I just wanted to share with you the self-treatment sequence. So if you've at least had Reiki level 1 attunement and training, then you should be able to do this. If you've never had a Reiki attunement and you think you're doing Reiki, I love you and you're doing a beautiful job healing the world, but Reiki is a process that goes through attunement. And I really hope that you find someone who will attune you, because it is a really beautiful experience. And there are so many beautiful healers in this world, and I love to see all of them. And I love people to try Reiki, even if it's not something that they go into long term. Reiki's always there with you once you have the attunement. You can always call on it. So it's just a way to kind of up your vibration, even if you don't really feel like you're going to use it later. Okay? That's the best explanation I got for you right now. But the self-treatment, so part of being a Reiki practitioner and doing Reiki is, if you're Reiki 2, you have the symbols, and it flows a little stronger, and you work on other people, and it feels really great. But one thing we might forget is working on ourselves, and I'm guilty of that. I always tell my students, make sure that you treat yourself if you can every day with Reiki, because it's really a really beautiful practice. It deepens your meditations, it guides you. There's this beautiful guiding force to Reiki that really just keeps you moving forward and helps you to process challenges, to be at peace when when you're grieving, all sorts of different things. So it's just a really wonderful thing that's part of your life every day if you really want it to be. So this is the sequence that I teach my students more or less during their training. There's a few variations that different teachers will do of this, and different positions that other practitioners will use. And if there's a spot on your body that feels good and you want to treat it, or if something's hurting, give Reiki to that directly, or scan your field, as you've been taught hopefully in your Reiki trainings, to find those spots that need it, because sometimes you may have a pain here, but it may be originating from here. So scanning will tell you kind of where to put that Reiki. Okay? But this is the standard sequence for starting, and I usually start with an alternate position, because this is not one that's technically taught in the sequence. It's taught as a separate position, and it's placing the hands around the head like this. If you've ever seen Reiki or not Reiki practitioners, them too, but pictures of saints, Jesus, angels, Buddha, anybody holy person, like the gurus of the Sikhs, Guru Nanak or any of those, and you see the halo around their head, that beautiful golden light. That's actually something that everyone has. We all have this arc line around our heads, and it's this place of integrity and projection and saintliness, if you will. Their arc lines glow because they are so in line with truth and so in line with their soul that there are no cracks in it. They don't curse, and they don't do things that are out of alignment with truth. So that's why they have this beautiful golden glow. And, we can all work towards that. But healing that to start off with, I think it's a beautiful way to go. So that's where I like to go. It's one of my numbers. It's the place of prayer, where we go into prayer rather than despair. And I think we can all sometimes use that. So we give ourselves Reiki here in the arc line. And you can kind of move around if you feel like there's a different spot that needs it, but just generally around that arc around the head. And you can do these as long as, you want to hold them, or one feels like more Reiki's flowing in a certain position. So go with your gut feeling. If you want to just start and do a minute each or 3 minutes each, you can do that. It's totally up to you. So we start there. And we go into the hands on the eyes. And part of this is the third eye, our spiritual vision. Part of it is just having clear sight, clear focus, clear mind, to be able to focus. And as you do this, cup the hand slightly to create that directional flow in the Reiki towards the eyes. And again, you stay here as long as you feel is proper and as long as it feels like the energy's flowing. Next we move over to the ears, and again you're cupping, and you can put your hands directly on the ears. With the headset I can't do that without making a whole bunch of noise. So that's one place. And this is a place of hearing. Can we hear other people's communications clearly? Do we hear guidance clearly from the angels or the etheric realms? Or from our soul, from within? Do we hear that clearly? Do we listen? Are we listening when somebody speaks and shares with us? Are we surrounded by loud noise or angry words? Do we need to clear those out and feel that peace, the beautiful sounds of mantra or spiritual music that we listen to? Next we can move above the head here, or place both hands at the crown. This is the crown chakra, our place of humility, place where creative ideas are born, or where they enter the mind. It will guide us. We clarify any blocks that might be keeping us from connecting to our infinity. And when we're done there, we go to the back. We can either place the hands this way, work on the back of the head. This is where we process the visual cortex. This is where we sometimes store tension. This is where energy flows into the head. Blood and oxygen nourishes the brain. The other alternate position is to cup the hands here at the base and let the fingers come upward. You want the Reiki to flow freely, so if your hands or your joints are restricted when you do this, it may not be the best choice, and that's why we have this position here. That feels nice, doesn't it? Next we have the shoulders. You just let your hands rest against the shoulders. And you can do the neck first if you feel like the throat and the neck need it first. That's more traditional sequence. So placing one hand in the front, one hand in the back, or one hand at the neck, and one hand at the chest. Connecting your heart, your speech, your communication together. It's also connecting to your thyroid, thymus. Helps to boost your immune system. And again, I like to use the back of the neck as well. I sometimes get tension there. And then do the shoulders this way. Some folks will also do the side of the neck, if you like to. I don't find that to be as useful. I find the front and back to be where it's at. So once you worked this upper part, the head, the shoulders, the neck, we move down. You can do the heart separately if you want. I sometimes like to give it just a little extra boost. This will connect the heart and the throat. And here we'll just go into the solar plexus. Is a little bit lower, feeds the heart. You just get that full feeling in the heart. It's where our human qualities come from. Then we move down to the base of the ribs, where our diaphragm is, where our breathing expands. And we can fully appreciate the life-giving breath. It's also where we can be positive, confident, joyful. When you laugh, your diaphragm and your belly just move up and down on those good belly laughs. That's where our joy is in the physical body. And then we come down to the middle where the fingers are touching right at the navel point. The actual belly button. In yoga, the navel point's a little lower, so we'll start here at the belly, working on our digestion, helping our intestines to work well, all our organs to function properly. And we move here to the more pelvic region. This is where, for the ladies, the ovaries, the sex organs are. This is where the water element connects to our body. Where you might connect to the bladder. It's also where we tend to store a lot of tension. So the hips relax and release. Feeling that comfort and the warmth of the Reiki flowing through the hands. That feels so nice. If you want to, you can also do the hips themselves, the hip joints. Depending on how my hips feel, I'll sometimes do that. It's not an official position. Now we move on to the back side. Again, at the base of the ribs, sort of where we might imagine the kidneys to be. We relax, stress, tension. If you know the stories of Mrs. Jakata, she sometimes told her students that if somebody's been through a trauma or an accident, you have to Reiki their kidneys and their adrenals first because the shock will tighten those, and it sends the adrenaline through the body. And if you're still in that state of fight or flight, it's hard for the body to relax and release. So we give that healing energy, that relaxation to those organs. Now we move a little lower to the mid-back. And this is sometimes where you feel tension if you've been standing a lot, or if your abdominals are a little weak, this may be a spot where you have tightness. And give it a little extra. And then we move down to the lower, more the buttocks and the base of the spine, the coccyx, the tailbone area. This will help us root into the earth, help us connect to our eliminating functions, help us feel secure, confident, strong, and it can also relieve anger. The two places, or maybe three, you might look at is the heart center, the liver, and the base of the body. When we're not grounded, that's when it's easy to fly off the handle. So spending time outdoors, sitting beneath a tree, in the grass, even going into the woods, and just feeling the wind flow through your aura and clear out any tightness or tension from electronics, from being around strange people or situations. Most people are actually good at heart. And when we're comfortable in our own fields, we're grounded. We can smile at them even when things seem tough. So that's the back side of the body. Now you have the opportunity, if you're sitting, to work on the thighs, if you choose to. But really the next position would be the knees. The joints tend to collect energy and can, get a little stuck from time to time. So just place your hands gently on the knee, or you can do above the knee and below the knee, right where the muscles come together for those ligaments. So that's a good portion. And when you're done with one, you can do the other side. You can even do one knee at a time, just one hand on each knee. I like to use both and give it proper attention to both sides. If you stand on hard surfaces, this is a great thing to do for your body. It'll help with alignment of the hips and all sorts of things. It can even help with tension in the back. So hopefully you can see my foot here. I'll do the yogic version of this. For doing the feet, you can do the ankle separately if you want to, but a lot of times I'll just place my foot on the top of the foot, or my hand on top of the foot, and then one hand either at the heel for a little while, and then on the bottom of the foot. There's an energy meridian right here, kind of in the middle, that will strengthen and release tension and help you connect to more energy, more strength. And if you're sitting, you can kind of bend over and reach your feet to the floor, or you can bring the foot up to your lap, or you can just sit on the ground even and touch your feet this way. And then you would do the other foot. Again, giving it a little love here in this manner. And when you're sitting, you also have the option of working one hand on each foot, either right to right and left to left, or switching the hands right to left and left to right, and doing it this way. There's a benefit to doing both because of the way the energy meridians are. If you're doing this, you're kind of creating a direct flow of energy. When you're crossing, you're allowing your brain hemispheres to get a little more stimulation, allowing the energy to crisscross to create a little clarity. When we're doing computer work, very linear tasks like that, we tend to use both sides of the body equally and both sides of the brain. So when we do these kind of exercises where it's crossed, we actually give our body a chance to kind of realign itself and correlate the sides together. It's the same as if you were doing a marching exercise where you're lifting the left knee and the right arm, and then the right knee and the left arm. That's called cross crawl, and it's a pretty common exercise to help balance out your brain that you can do. So that's probably a little more than you bargained for with self-treatment, but hopefully this is something you can do for yourself. You can either set a timer. There are some videos on YouTube that have beautiful music that you can just hear a little bell go off every so many minutes, and then switch hand positions when you feel comfortable. Give yourself a nice quiet space. If you have your own altar at home or your own sacred space where you can sit and do this, that's really the place where you can go when something doesn't feel right, or you're lost, or you're just, everything feels like it's a mess. You go and sit down in that spot and everything shifts because you've devoted your time to that place. You've devoted your healing energy to that place, and you've devoted your prayer to that place. You know, it's that vibration. You remember it when you're feeling out of sync with it. You go there, and your body and your energy field remembers it and has the opportunity to realign with your truth, with your path, and with your soul, with God, you know, however you want to view that. So that's what we have for you today. Go in peace, go in health, and heal yourself, and heal others. Beautiful prayer that William Rand shares is, may I be healed so that I may better heal others. It's a very selfless, beautiful prayer. Satnam. Until next time, please like the video if it's helpful to you. You can join us on our email list or Facebook if that feels comfortable to you. And you'll get updates on a regular basis. Satnam.